Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new Motogp 24 video. Now today we have a very special video. We got to finally try out a full esports setup on GP24. First off, a massive thank you to Flavio for giving me the setup. Most people know who he is. He finished 8th in his rookie season in the Esports Championship, so very much an up-and-comer for the future years. But it was a real honor to try out the setup because I know they are very hard worked on to make these setups as fast and as comfortable and as consistent as possible for the esports setups. Safe to say it was an interesting experience. It didn't go as I expected. I had a couple of maybe preconceptions coming into the video thinking what it could be like, but it was much different. But anyway, let's jump over now to Aragon. So as always, before we get in, we're going to put just the baseline setup on. So nearly every bike you get on, you have to kind of do these changes. Just make sure you have the right brakes in. So make sure for this track, high mass is what you need. Also, on the GP bikes, you have to run soft tires. The other tires are both. So make sure, at least if you're trying something similar, make sure you put in the right brakes and have the right tires on the bike. So to make this as fair as possible, I'm just going to leave the ECU settings alone. I'm not going to change it and try and get more out of this setup. This is the complete, pretty much base setup, other than a small few tweaks that are just a bit silly not to do. But we're going to do a few laps. I'm going to see what I can do, and then we'll bolt into the good setup and see how much of a difference it is. Lap 1 is gone already, so it just shows straight away I'm really struggling with the base setup. I don't feel fast at all. You can see up in the top right a previous lap time of 44. That is not a recent lap time, that's must have been there. I'm not too sure where I've done that lap or how I've done it, because the ghost is me riding as Flavio hours, so I'm not really sure. That must have been much earlier in the game cycle, so I'm completely going to rule that lap time out. We're going to just go off of what I can do. But yeah, lap 1 not really good, and you can see there, big mistake. So we're going to go again. We're going to try and get one good clean lap in, so I have some decent kind of base work to work from. As you can probably see there, couldn't get the bike at all to turn into the last corner. 46.5. So even the previous laps I've done on the other bike long time ago, nowhere near that. So we have a huge margin for error, I'd imagine, improvement, because you saw the last corner. But I've done the couple laps I did, I just cannot, the bike just doesn't turn in for me. So I'm not really sure, is it setup or rider? We'll find out pretty quickly once I put the setup on, as I'll know straight away if it's me or the bike. But yeah, early doors, the stock setting is shockingly bad. Biggest thing for me immediately coming out of the pits I knew today was the traction of 4. It's way too high. It's just the bike is completely being held back, and what happens in this game is if you don't get to be able to slide the rear, you end up having a massive dialed in understeer and you get hanging in the middle of the corner where you can't turn the bike. So I'm really looking forward to trying the improved setup, the pro setup, and hopefully traction is much lower. So we have bolted in the pro setup from Flavio, and now I will not be able to show it. When we go to track, the ECU settings will be blurred out. It's a huge thing for esports riders to get the perfect setup to get dialed in, so I will not be showing off anything, and I can't really. It's just, it wouldn't be right to show off his setup. He's asked me not to, and I completely understand why. It's they just spend so long making these setups, just fine-tuning them and getting them absolutely perfect to be the best in the world. So it just wouldn't sit right with me to show them off in a video that could potentially get thousands of views. So unfortunately, please don't ask in the comments. I'd love to give you setups of my own, but I don't really make setups on these games anymore. But unfortunately, I will not be able to show this one off, and I hope you do understand, because again, I'm sure Flavio has spent absolute hours upon hours going around every track, fine-tuning every setup to get it as best as possible for his own esports. So I've just done an outlap there. I haven't validated it, so I won't show it just because it's obviously not going to be valid. But the one thing I will say so far is the bike's a lot more live. Mainly the issue I have with the stock setup and just the base game, bikes are lazy, they don't turn in, they're just a bit, everything's slow in the way it happens, whereas this setup straight away feels like it just kind of wakes up the bike and wakes up what I would say the rider's doing. So let's see if we can get actually a clean lap in here, because I was a lot under in that previous lap, so I'd be really interested to see. I'm going to spend a couple of laps at it, because again, it's a bit different to what I'm used to, so I think it'll take a couple of laps for me to even get the most out of it. Barely half a second under, which is quite good. Not ideal into turn 7. But one thing I will note is that all my hours on this game have been pretty much base setup or slightly off, and I've made some setups I don't spend a huge amount of time, because if I'm at a track in career mode. I don't spend a huge amount of time there, so I don't really try that hard to make a perfect setup or anything. So none of my setups will be that good. So to finally ride something that's probably a bit more refined. Oh, did not like dipping into 12 there. But yeah, like I'm saying, riding something that's a bit more refined, it does actually make the game feel a little bit different, I'm not gonna lie. And that usually will mean I won't get the most out of it because I'm kind of probably, if anything, I'm probably riding it wrong and kind of overriding in a way, expecting the bike to do something else. We're 1.1 and a bit off. Under, I should say. Big thing I wanted to see was, would it tip into the last corner? Look at that. Buzz is lying on that light, so we just found about half a second there, I'd say. So up to the line, it's going to be a 45.0, so we're almost down to what I did on that Yamaha all the go. But the probably goal will be to probably beat that. Already into turn one a bit deep, so 3/10 to find on this lap. So I'm struggling a bit actually with the gearing, because the gearing is quite different. And it's put me in different gears for different corners, and the muscle memory from the other laps is just kicking in. And I keep ending up in the wrong gear. Usually kind of gear too low is the issue I'm having at the moment. But again, that's why I just want to give this setup a couple of laps, because I think it'll take me a few laps to go, oh, I should be in that gear for that corner. And that's why the bike is doing this, because it doesn't feel amazing to one, I'm not going to lie. But I reckon it's more me being mediocre and causing that to not feel great. It's probably not the setup. Another note as well to probably take into account is that if I don't go that fast on this setup and I don't ride as quick and as good as I think I can, probably would just show that the setup probably isn't making all that much of a difference at that level. In terms of, it's definitely down to the rider's skill, I feel, with the top guys, because I'd say they could probably take the pace setup and go 4 seconds quicker than I could, whereas maybe their setup gives them the extra 3-4 tenths that makes them that extra special compared to a good rider. Whereas I'd say these days you could probably give me a hyper bike and I wouldn't be able to do much against them. See, again, I'm like, a lot of these mistakes I'm making over the laps are just me, and I don't think any setup will fix that. It's just how I don't kind of gel well with this game. I can feel the bike is different, and I probably, if I could put it together, it's probably a much quicker lap and it's probably something reasonably fast there. But at the moment I feel like I'm probably not doing the setup kind of justice. But then there's also the other side of the coin. Is the setup worth that much? Or are these guys at the top, they're obviously amazing, but are they that amazing that they just are in such in tune with this game? Can they basically make the difference everywhere on any track, on any setup? So another lap here where I've crashed. Unfortunately, I'm not getting great feelings from it. It's definitely faster. Again, I personally probably don't love this track so much, so maybe this is track dependent. Maybe if I took it somewhere else, probably could get better results. I'm not finished yet. I'm gonna do another few laps, because I feel if I start to kind of hook it up more, it'll start to come to me and I'll start to get into the groove. But unfortunately, right now, the time is there. It's just crash, mistake, and getting bad kind of bounces off curbs. I'm getting weird physics moment again where I feel that out of my hands. So it's quite interesting to see, because I wasn't sure, because I know if you try a really fast setup, you'll say on GP bikes, it doesn't always work for you, because a bike isn't set up to be fast, it's set up for a rider to go fast. And this setup could be exactly the same with Flavio on it. It might suit him down to the ground and he could be very fast on it, but that doesn't mean I'll just go fast on it. But overall, it just feels like a tighter knit bike, but at the same time, it's still being held back by what I would class as the physics. Another lap gone there, and again, this is a decent lap up to this point, but I just feel like the bike is closer to the edge, especially in my hands, and it's pushing me out onto the edge of curbs and off the back of curbs, and it's just making a lot of movements. And I'm trying to be, at first I was trying to be really aggressive and kind of force the bike to fit as I would ride the base settings and some of my own setups. But I'm starting to notice I have to really be smooth, and riding smooth on this game to me feels alien for some reason. I've always been smooth, but on this game particularly, because just the way the game kind of reacts to the inputs, I feel like you have to really force everything. But now I'm trying to be gentle and smooth and stuff. I'm just having lack of control moments is the best way to probably describe it. Prime example just there now. Lost the front in the right hander and just want to change direction. I'm not really sure what happened there, to be brutally honest, but again, that's another lap where it started good and it just fizzles out for me. So having a lot of them laps at the moment. Yeah, that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? My fastest lap, my last lap at 44.7. I think that puts me about 110th in the world, or 105th. So I think it's a mixture of, I'm not good at this game anymore, I don't enjoy it, so it's very hard for me to get kind of into it, as well as this track probably doesn't suit me particularly well. I feel a lot of this track is these type of corners where you're coming in, you're bringing it back to the apex. It's not at the corners I like. It's not a great track for me typically, but that being said, the setup is better, but it's not what I would call a meta, whereas it's faster into the corners, faster out, it turns so much better, it feels lighter, it can do magical things. It's more refined, but in my hands, it was nearly 2 seconds quicker, so I suppose that's probably a bit harsh to say it's not much faster in my hands, but I felt if I took the base setup and changed these two settings and actually played around with the settings myself, I could probably got a lap close to the lap time I did. Now again, you saw I was a couple of tenths under again when I crashed in this lap, so there is lap time there, but it's not coming to me easy. It will take me all night sitting here, sweating every corner, crashing at every corner, going over my limit to find a good lap with this setup. And I think that just shows that it's more me than the setup. The setup is quite good and clearly is fast. And it probably shows more so, and probably what we've learned, the main thing you've learned from this video is that the esports guys aren't average players with really good setups. It's very much the other way around, where they're amazing at the game and they have slightly above average setups. So yeah, it's probably more of a testament to Flavio and his competitors that the top guys on this game are just really fast, and just they can make the bike dance for them, whereas I don't have that ability anymore, which is a bit unfortunate, but what can you do? We're gonna end it there anyway. I want to say a massive thank you to Flavio for the setup. It was a really intriguing idea just to kind of get in the mindset of what the esports riders do with their setups. It was great to see the actual setup and just see how it works and just to see how it performed in game. Fortunately, it didn't kind of go the way I wanted. I thought it would make me a bit quicker and maybe cover the skill gap, but no, I think if anything, I've just done probably Flavio and all the esports guys a bit of service and justify them how good they are at this game. But we're gonna end it here. I hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next one. Slán go fóill.